Everyone could use some help with some legal advice from time to time, and we have the perfect law office to help. Laura Dellutri is here to introduce you to the law office of St. Surin and Caruthers.
Good morning, I'm Laura Dellutri, and I'm here with Gishard St. Surin, CEO of law firm of St. Surin and Caruthers, and Janice Caruthers, who is a COO. Thank you both for being here this morning. Now, I'm not an attorney, but you both are. And last week you were here and you spoke about the 5 common reasons people get a divorce. But today you're here to give us the 5 reasons to keep people together. And I love that. So let's start with the first way. You say work on yourself.
So, and it's interesting, both of us took a lot of time to work on ourselves because there's certain things that we want to do and different goals that we have that we know it's important for us to be whole people before we can go out and get into a relationship with another person. So whether it's therapy that you need, talking to a minister, or just sitting down, setting the goals for yourself, and then making sure you follow through with those goals, that's truly important because when you feel your best, then you give your best to other people.
That is so good, and I've always felt like healthy people attract healthy people. So if you're both really healthy and good and feel good about yourself, working on yourself, you make a great partnership. So that is a great number 1. Okay, number 2, the second way. What's the second thing that you have for us?
Well, the second way is to do the uncomfortable things.
Okay.
So, like muscles, for example. You know, to grow muscles, they are literally ripping themselves apart and they're rebuilding themselves back up to be stronger.
Right.
So it's the same thing in a marriage, where in a marriage you actually have to keep growing the marriage muscle. And just like working out at the gym for the first time, it can get very uncomfortable, the soreness, but the longer you work at it, the easier it becomes. So you have to constantly work on your marriage. Do the uncomfortable things that you don't like to do. Do the dishes. Take out the trash, man.
All right. Hey, I like what you're saying here.
Do those particular things.
You're speaking to America here. This is great. It's a partnership. And that's really what you're saying, working the muscle of the marriage and making it stronger. I love that. Okay, now what's the third way? What do you have?
Now, communication, and it goes back to doing the uncomfortable. No one likes to sit around and talk about their feelings, but if you aren't truly heard, then that can create a lot of problems. So one thing that we like to do is active listening, which is basically listening to what the person says. You paraphrase it back, so you say, okay, if I'm hearing you clearly, this is what you're saying, and this is why you feel that way, to make sure you're both talking about the same things. And then that way you can truly problem solve together and make sure you're both heard and you're both understood.
Right, and you know what I love about what you said is you're active listening and then you're acknowledging what they said back to them. But it doesn't mean you agree with it or disagree with it. You're just listening for understanding.
Exactly.
And I think that's so key. These are such great tips. Okay, I'm ready for number 4. Let's go with that.
Number 4 is to make time for each other. It goes back to the episode we did last week where growing apart in a marriage because of children.
Right.
Where here you have to make sure to make time for each other. You know, I know for me, one of my favorite shows is Scandal. You know, I love me some Olivia Pope because my wife loved that show.
Yes.
So I had to get interested in her interest too. And she was not the biggest football fan whatsoever.
Right.
But I mean, just as recently as the last year, because before, you know, she tries to get interested, but when we're watching the game, it's a lot of questions that's been asked. What is this? What is the first down? What is this?
Right.
But now she knows it completely.
That's great.
And that's because she took the time to learn my interests, and I took the time to learn her interests, so we can just grow together and then spend those quality time with each other.
Oh, I think that's great, and I think that is the key, is really sparking each other and each other's interest and bringing the best out in each other.
Yes.
I think that's fabulous. Okay, and last one, the 5th way, do not expect or demand anything. I think that can be an issue. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
This one is kind of the golden rule. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, and for that, a lot of times we do things and like, you know what, I'm gonna buy her flowers, and you know what, she's gonna do this for me in return, or she's gonna let me go out to watch the football game, or to do this and this with my friend. And we cannot do that in a relationship. You know, we cannot do something. We have to do it out of the kindness of our heart and do not expect anything in return. And trust me, if you do that, you will have an incredible marriage.
I think that is great advice. Thank you both so much for being here. Now, I want to remind our viewers that they can get a free consultation from your law firm. All they have to do is mention that they saw this episode of The Morning Blend and receive that free initial consultation. They can also call 239-288-7664 or visit your website and get all the information that they need to get a free consultation. So I want to thank you both so much for being here, and now back to you on the set.
All right, thank you, Laura. And the law office of St. Surin and Caruthers are going to be joining us every Monday. To find out more about them and their services, log on to our website. That's going to be at fox4morningblend.com. Up next, a little show and tell with the Military Heritage Museum to help remind us that freedom is not free.